Officer Sarah Martins pulled over her last speeder on November 15, 1978. What happened in the next hour would remain a mystery for 15 years, until fishermen discovered her patrol car at the bottom of Lake Morrison with a body inside that wasn't hers. Sarah was 28 years old, dedicated to her job as a traffic enforcement officer in Millbrook, Pennsylvania. She had blonde hair that she kept neatly pinned back under her police cap and those kind of eyes that missed nothing on the road. Her colleagues knew her as someone who played by the rules. No shortcuts. No favors. Every citation written with precision, every procedure followed to the letter. That evening, rain drummed against the windows of the Millbrook police station. Sarah checked her equipment one final time before heading out for the night shift. Her service weapon sat secure in its holster. Her citation book was full of fresh tickets. She had no idea these would be the last moments anyone would see her alive. Unit 47, this is dispatch, crackled the radio as Sarah pulled out of the station parking lot. Unit 47, go ahead, Sarah responded, her voice clear and professional. We've got reports of speeding vehicles on Route 19 near the Lake Access Road. Can you handle? Unit 47 responding, Sarah said, turning her patrol car toward Lake Morrison. That was 9:47 p.m. It would be the last time anyone heard Officer Sarah Martin speak. At 10:15 p.m., dispatch tried to reach Sarah. Static filled the airwaves. They tried again at 10:30. Nothing. By 11 p.m., Sergeant Ray Thompson was pacing the station floor, running his thick fingers through his graying hair. "Where the hell is Martins?" he muttered to Officer Jim Brady, who was finishing his paperwork at the next desk. "Maybe her radio's busted," Brady suggested. "You know how those old units are." But Thompson knew better. Sarah was too professional to let her radio die without reporting it. Something was wrong. By midnight, search teams were combing Route 19. They found tire marks in the mud near the Lake Access Road, but the rain had washed away most of the details. No sign of Unit 47. No sign of Sarah. David Rodriguez got the call at 12:30 a.m. He was Sarah's fiancé, a mechanic with gentle hands and worried eyes. They were supposed to be married the following spring. "Mr. Rodriguez, this is Sergeant Thompson with the Millbrook Police. We need you to come down to the station." David's heart stopped. "Is Sarah hurt? What happened?" "We're not sure yet, but Officer Martins is missing." The search lasted 3 days. Helicopters circled over Lake Morrison. Divers went down as far as they could, but the lake was deep and the water was murky. The technology wasn't there to search the bottom thoroughly. Sarah's car, Unit 47, had vanished completely. So had Sarah. Weeks turned into months. The investigation stalled. Sarah's case file grew thick with dead ends and false leads. Tips came in constantly. Sarah spotted in 3 different states, her car seen in parking lots hundreds of miles away. Every lead went nowhere. Detective Maria Santos, fresh out of the academy, watched from her desk as senior officers slowly lost interest in the case. "These things happen," she heard them say. "People disappear. Maybe she ran off. Maybe she had debts we don't know about." But Maria had studied Sarah's file. This wasn't a woman who ran from problems. Sarah Martins was someone who faced them head-on. The investigation officially went cold in May 1979. Sarah's parents held a memorial service. David Rodriguez stood at the front of the church, holding Sarah's picture, his voice breaking as he spoke about the woman he would never marry. "She was going to change things," David said through tears. "Sarah saw problems and fixed them. She never looked the other way." 6 months later, another missing person report crossed the police desk. Marcus Webb, 34, owner of Webb Trucking Company, hadn't been seen since November 1978. His ex-wife had assumed he'd skipped town to avoid paying alimony. She only reported him missing when creditors started calling her about his business debts. November 1978. The same month Sarah disappeared. Detective Santos made a note in her personal files, but no one else seemed to notice the connection. The case files were filed away in storage, gathering dust. March 1993. Pennsylvania was in the grip of its worst drought in 50 years. Lake Morrison, once deep enough to hide a small car, had shrunk to half its normal size. Muddy banks stretched out where water used to reach. Dead fish lay scattered on the exposed lake bed. Tommy Fletcher and his grandson were fishing from the newly exposed shoreline when the boy spotted something metallic glinting in the distance. "Grandpa, what's that?" Tommy squinted through the morning haze. Something large and dark sat in what used to be the deepest part of the lake. As they got closer, Tommy's heart began to race. It was a police car, covered in 15 years of lake bottom mud, but unmistakably a patrol car. The call to police came at 9:15 a.m. By noon, dive teams were suited up and cameras were rolling. News vans lined the shore as crews prepared to lift Unit 47 from its watery grave. Detective Maria Santos, now a senior investigator, watched from the shoreline as the wrecker's chains went taut. Water poured from the car's windows as it emerged from the lake like some prehistoric monster. The license plate was slightly visible, Unit 47. Sarah Martin's patrol car. But when investigators peered through the mud-caked windshield, their blood ran cold. There was a body in the driver's seat. After 15 years, they had found Sarah. Except they hadn't. The body was male. And from the wallet found in his jacket pocket, his name was Marcus Webb. The same Marcus Webb who had been reported missing in 1979. The same Marcus Webb whose disappearance no one had connected to Sarah Martin's. But if Marcus Webb was in Sarah's car, where was Sarah? Marcus Webb had owned a small trucking company that hauled freight between Pennsylvania and Ohio. He was recently divorced, struggling with tax problems, and known around town as someone who minded his own business. But Marcus Webb had been watching, and what he saw would cost him his life. His trucking routes took him all over Millbrook County. He'd seen the same police cars in the same places, week after week. He'd watched officers wave through certain trucks without stopping them for inspections. He'd seen envelopes change hands in parking lots. Webb started keeping a notebook. Dates, times, badge numbers. He documented everything. Officer Jim Brady taking money from Consolidated Shipping to ignore weight violations. Officer Pete Morrison getting paid by 3 different trucking companies to lose their citations. And at the center of it all, Sergeant Ray Thompson, coordinating the whole operation. But Webb had discovered something bigger than traffic ticket corruption. The impound lot was being used to funnel stolen vehicles. Cars and trucks that should have been destroyed were being sold through a black market network. Thompson was making thousands of dollars every month. Webb knew he had evidence that could destroy careers. But he also knew he couldn't go to the police. Half the department seemed to be involved. That's when he thought of Sarah Martin's. Everyone knew Sarah was clean. She wrote tickets by the book. She never played favorites. If anyone could be trusted to do the right thing, it was Officer Sarah Martin's. Webb made the call on November 15, 1978. 9:30 p.m. Officer Martin's? This is Marcus Webb. I need to talk to you about something important. Something about corruption in your department. Sarah agreed to meet him at the Lake Access Road. It was quiet there, away from prying eyes. Webb would bring his evidence. Sarah would know what to do with it. But someone else knew about that meeting too. Sergeant Ray Thompson had been a cop for 20 years. He'd started honest, but watching drug dealers drive better cars than police officers had slowly eaten away at his principles. The corruption started small, looking the other way for a $20 bill. But it grew. By 1978, Thompson was running the most profitable police corruption scheme in 3 counties. But it all depended on keeping certain officers in the dark. Officers like Sarah Martins. Thompson had tapped the phones at the station. He'd been listening to calls, watching his officers, making sure no one was talking to investigators. When Marcus Webb called Sarah, Thompson heard every word. He knew about the meeting at Lake Morrison. He knew Webb had evidence that could destroy him. And he knew Sarah Martins was exactly the type of officer who would turn that evidence in, no matter what it cost her. Thompson couldn't let that meeting happen. At 9:15 p.m. on November 15th, Thompson left the police station in his personal car. He told the desk sergeant he was checking on a domestic disturbance call. The lie came easily. Marcus Webb was already waiting at the lake access road when Thompson arrived. Webb's truck was parked near the water, headlights cutting through the rain. Webb was smoking a cigarette, nervous, checking his watch. Thompson parked behind Webb's truck and got out slowly. His service weapon was in his hand. Marcus Webb. Thompson called out. Webb turned, confused. Sergeant Thompson? I wasn't expecting. I thought Officer Martins was coming. She is, Thompson said, walking closer. But we need to talk first. Webb backed toward his truck, suddenly understanding that something was very wrong. Look, Sergeant, I don't want any trouble. I just want to do the right thing. The right thing, Thompson repeated, raising his weapon. You should have minded your own business, Marcus. The gunshot echoed across the water. Webb crumpled to the muddy ground, a hole in his chest, his eyes wide with shock and fear. Thompson checked his watch. Sarah would be there any minute. Sarah Martins arrived at 9:55 p.m., her patrol car's headlights sweeping across the scene. She saw Marcus Webb's truck first, then Thompson's car behind it. As she got out of Unit 47, she spotted Webb's body on the ground. Ray! Sarah called out, drawing her weapon. What happened here? Thompson stepped out from behind Webb's truck, his hands raised, his own weapon nowhere to be seen. Sarah, thank God you're here. I got a call about gunshots. Found this guy already dead when I arrived. Sarah knelt beside Webb's body, checking for a pulse she knew she wouldn't find. Her training kicked in. Secure the scene. Call for backup. Start an investigation. We need to call this in, Sarah said, reaching for her radio. Sarah, wait, Thompson said, his voice changing. There's something you need to know about Marcus Webb. Sarah looked up from the body. Thompson was standing 10 feet away now, and his service weapon was back in his hand, pointed at her chest. Ray, what are you doing? Marcus Webb was investigating police corruption, Thompson said, his voice steady and cold. He had evidence. Names, dates, photos. He was going to destroy careers. Then we arrest the dirty cops, Sarah said, her own weapon trained on her sergeant. We do our jobs. Thompson laughed, but there was no humor in it. Our jobs? Sarah, I am the dirty cops. I've been running this operation for 3 years. And Marcus Webb was going to bring it all down. Sarah's mind raced. Her sergeant, the man who had trained her, guided her career, recommended her for commendations. A killer. Put the weapon down, Ray, Sarah said, her voice stronger than she felt. We can work this out. No, we can't, Thompson said. Because you're just like Marcus. You always do the right thing. You can't be bought, can't be threatened, can't be reasoned with. You're a good cop, Sarah. That's why you have to die. Sarah dove toward her patrol car as Thompson fired. The bullet shattered her windshield. She rolled behind the vehicle, using it as cover. Ray, please, she shouted. We can fix this. It's too late for that, Thompson called back. Sarah knew she had 2 choices. She could try to shoot it out with her sergeant, or she could try to escape. Neither option looked good. She made her choice. Sarah sprinted toward the water, hoping to circle back to Webb's truck and use its radio. Thompson's second shot caught her in the back. She fell face-first into the mud at the lake's edge, her weapon spinning away into the darkness. Thompson walked over slowly, his weapon still trained on Sarah's motionless body. When he was sure she was dead, he holstered his gun and looked around at the scene. 2 bodies, 2 vehicles, and no witnesses except the lake itself. Thompson worked through the night. First, he loaded both bodies into Sarah's patrol car. Marcus Webb in the driver's seat, Sarah in the passenger seat. Then he used Webb's truck to push Unit 47 down the boat ramp and into the deep water of Lake Morrison. The patrol car sank quickly, disappearing into the water. Thompson drove Webb's truck to a chop shop in Pittsburgh, where it was dismantled and sold for parts within hours. When Thompson returned to the station at 6 a.m., he filed his report. Officer Sarah Martins had failed to return from her patrol. Her vehicle was missing. Search and rescue operations would begin immediately. For 15 years, Thompson's plan worked perfectly. He played the role of the concerned supervisor, the dedicated sergeant who never gave up hope that Officer Martins would be found. He attended every anniversary memorial service. He personally delivered condolence letters to Sarah's parents. And every year, on the anniversary of Sarah's death, Thompson left flowers on the memorial bench the city had installed in her honor. White roses. Sarah's favorite. The corruption network continued for 3 more years before Thompson finally shut it down. He destroyed all evidence, transferred the involved officers to different departments, and retired early with full benefits. Thompson thought he had committed the perfect crime. But Lake Morrison kept its secrets for 15 years, waiting for the right moment to give them up. When detectives finally arrested Thompson in 1994, he broke down completely. The weight of carrying 2 murders for 15 years had destroyed him. He confessed everything: the corruption, the killings, the cover-up. "I never meant for it to go this far," he sobbed in the interrogation room. "It was supposed to be about money. Just money. But Sarah, she would have done the right thing. She always did the right thing." Thompson was sentenced to life without parole for the murders of Sarah Martins and Marcus Webb. He died in prison in 2008, never showing remorse for destroying 2 lives to protect his criminal empire. Sarah Martins was posthumously awarded the Medal of Valor, Pennsylvania's highest honor for police officers. Her name was engraved on the wall of the State Police Memorial, joining other officers who died in the line of duty. David Rodriguez, Sarah's fiancé, never married. He kept her engagement ring for 40 years, carrying it in his wallet until the day he died. At his funeral, the ring was buried with him. Marcus Webb's family finally got the closure they had been denied for 16 years. His daughter, who had been only 8 when he disappeared, spoke at Thompson's sentencing. "My father wasn't a hero," she said. "He was just a man who tried to do the right thing. And for that he paid with his life. But his courage helped expose the truth. That has to mean something." The case became a turning point for police departments across Pennsylvania. New oversight procedures were established. Anonymous reporting systems were created. The Sarah Martins Act required all police departments to have independent corruption investigation units. Sometimes justice takes decades to arrive. But it never stops searching for the truth. What would you have done if you were in Sarah's position? Faced with corruption in your own department, would you have had the courage to stand up for what was right, knowing it might cost you everything? The case of Sarah Martins reminds us that heroes don't always get happy endings. Sometimes doing the right thing means sacrificing everything. But in the end, the truth always finds a way to surface, even from the bottom of a lake.